Oh, strange.
You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate it. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your family, because we love you more than your family. No, we don't. We kind of do. We kind of do, actually, because we don't judge you. And your family does give you that side eye. We all know what you're talking about, right? But just remember, even though we love you as a family, you can't borrow money from us. So please stop asking and sending my email. But you can send us money if you want. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Chris Voss. Wow, shameless plug there. YouTube.com/Chris Voss. LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTokity, and what is it? Goodreads/ChrisVoss.com. An amazing young lady is the show. As always, we talk with CEOs, billionaires, all these smart people on how to run a business, how to build a business, how to keep a business running, and all that good stuff. We're going to be talking to her about the businesses that she's run in the fashion brands world. Because if there's anything people have said or watching this show for 16 years is Chris Voss has some awful fashion. And so she's going to give us advice as how to dress better and be better, and I'll probably just keep looking awful. But, at least I bathe daily. That's the thing we've achieved this year. Anyway, guys, we have Ashley Lacer on the show with us today. She's the founder of fashion brands Ella Lane and Michelle May. And she's going to be sharing her powerful story of navigating significant legal challenges and emerging stronger while building a business and becoming successful. It's hard to be an entrepreneur out there. And the one thing you don't think about is I might get sued or I might have some legal issues. And boy, when you get successful, do they come. I learned that the hard way. In this episode, we're going to be talking with her about how she faced a copyright infringement lawsuit that nearly destroyed her business and the tough decisions she had to make, including settling a claim and overhauling her process to ensure compliance. She'll share invaluable lessons on how small business owners can protect themselves from legal pitfalls, the importance of due diligence, and how to turn crises into opportunities for growth. Her journey offers practical insights to maintaining business integrity, resilience, and thus a must listen for any entrepreneur looking to learn from real world experiences. And when you're successful, folks, I guarantee you the lawsuits will come. And people are always like, well, you just have to be really a good business person, Chris. I'm like, no, they shake down lawsuits, they will come. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you, Ashley. How are you?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming. We're going to be sitting and talking all about all our lawsuit stories. But give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
So we have a retail side front, which is ellalane.com, where consumers can buy our product. And then our michellemayWholesale.com website is for retailers that want to sell our brand to their consumers.
There you go. So tell us about, give us an overview of your journey of what we'll get into the lawsuit stuff in a bit, but give us an overview of what Ella Lane and Michelle May do and how they do it.
Sure. So about 7 years ago, I started Ella Lane as an online women's boutique to kind of connect with women both online and a local community, to try to find confidence in what they wear. I'm a big proponent of clothes that are easy to wear. I'm a mom of 3 kids, so I don't have time for fuss. And then through that journey, I kind of discovered that the apparel brand industry was lacking in size inclusivity, as well as apparel that actually lasted. So I decided to start my own wholesale company, which is Michelle May, and make it myself.
There you go. And how long did you start it?
Michelle May was started 5 years ago.
There you go. So give us a little bit of your upbringing. What made you, was this your first entrepreneurial foray? What made you want to be entrepreneurial? How did you grow up? Maybe was there some influence in your life that made you want to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so my grandparents ran their own business for decades. He was a land surveyor and civil engineer. And they kind of always raised me to dream big, chase it, don't have fear. And if you don't see an opportunity you like, to create one for yourself. And so I kind of just decided to, in every aspect of my life, do that. I've been a real estate broker, an appraiser. I had a wedding coordinating company that I sold, and a slew of other things. But definitely honed in on some passions of mine now, and excited to take it to the next level.
There you go. There you go. What made you pick fashion?
It's something that people deal with every single day. I mean, whether you're working or not working, kind of what you wear and how comfortable you are speaks a lot about how you want to live your life. And so
there you go. That's what a lot of people throw rocks at me about is the intense fashion I wear on the show.
Hey, black is always classic. You're good.
Especially when you're fat. So black is my color. Plus, it helps me blend in if I need to escape, I don't know, prosecution or police, or I don't know what this joke is going towards. But I believe I'm wearing Kmart today. So that's the designer I chose. Is there a Kmart even around anymore?
I think they've all closed down around us, so I don't have an answer to that one.
Well, it was either that or Sears, so I had to choose between the two high-class designers there.
I think those have also shut down too.
Wow, sounds like the rest of my life. Actually,
sounds like you might need some apparel brands to get you some more.
Sounds like my wardrobe.
We haven't started a men's line yet, but when we do, I'll help you out.
There you go. Well, I was checking out the lovely dresses you have on the websites for your thing, and I don't know, maybe someone would work for me. I don't know. Well, it looks like you might have a big and tall, maybe.
So one of the big reasons we started Michelle May was that size inclusivity. And so I think over 80% of brands that create apparel for women don't go beyond a size large or XL. So we actually offer sizes extra small through 4X and include both XL and 1XL. So
I'm glad for that, because I'll have to try out some of the dresses, I guess. But, a lot of, for a long time, I couldn't get like 3X, 4X, and 5XL in men's stuff.
Yeah.
And
very underserved part of the.
Oh yeah. I mean, blue jeans hate fat people. I don't know about for women, because I've never shot for women's blue jeans, but for men, it's like everything stops at like, I don't know, 26-year-old waistlines. And I'm just like, what the hell? Do I have to be anemic or bulimic, or do I have to just, I don't know, be a skeleton to wear these jeans? But
yeah, part of our whole brand mission is really just helping women love and accept who they are, how they are, and creating a clothing line that fits their bodies great, makes them feel great, and is easy to wash and wear.
Yeah. I wear clothes that make me look awful and feel awful, but it's kind of, I need therapy. Anyway, enough therapy jokes. So tell us about your journey. You start your company. What leads up to this sort of legal sort of story? You're starting your company. You've got that fire in your eyes. You're like going forward with that entrepreneurial spirit. What's that like?
Yeah. So we started like any company did, dreams, aspirations, and then sometimes all of a sudden you don't know how to scale. So we were very blessed with a somewhat quick and rapid growth. And part of that, which led to my copyright situation, was we were basically going too fast. We were trying to produce too many things too quickly and weren't taking the necessary steps to check the prints before going into production. So that's kind of what happened there. We had a overseas manufacturer. We assumed, like lots of small businesses do, you assume when you're doing business with someone that it's okay and it's safe to do. And then end of last year, attorney comes knocking.
Now I imagine that's a bit of, between copyright wars and fashion wars and stuff like that. That's all kind of how the business kind of runs, doesn't it? Isn't fashion pretty cutthroat?
To be honest, if it is, I try to stay away from it. I really try to just stay in my own lane. And that's part of what this whole copyright issue has kind of taught me. And so when we found out that one of the prints we had used way back in 2022 was an alleged copyright, we decided, I was very pregnant at the time, and it was a whole new legal battle. So I decided just to settle that one. But with that process, I got legal counseling. I got some advice on what to do, what not to do. And we basically changed the entire structure of how we do business so this would not happen again.
There you go. Preventative changes. So tell us about, kind of walk us through the journey of the story. What's it like when you first start getting these, notices or C&Ds or whatever? And I'm sure that they come as a shock because, you're running your business. You're not really trying to run a courtroom.
No, and I think as all business owners, we get kind of laser focused with what we're trying to accomplish that day, that week, that month, that year, right? So we have, what's the next style? What's the next print? What's the next sale? What's the next plan? What's the next launch?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden something comes and sidelines you, and it kind of gets the whole production cycle off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of took this as an opportunity to pretty much just pause everything, really evaluate the process that we were doing. And we kind of had to start over our entire fall print launch for this year. So that was a big undertaking.
Yeah. And it's expensive too. I mean, it's not cheap to have to hire an attorney to defend yourself against legal things.
Yeah. And it's not even the attorney costs that kind of really added up for us. It was kind of the big part that was devastating is we had a lot of prints and product that was already in production or in our warehouse that we elected proactively to not sell. So we have thousands of units in my warehouse right now that I can't verify a copyright status on. So they're all a loss because I refuse to expose the company to more risk and sell something I can't verify.
Wow. Is there any way you can dump them at Goodwill for a write-off of a donation, or is that still bad?
Yeah, you can donate. I'm going to work with my my PR company to kind of figure out the best place to place these products, just because I think they can still have some good in the community. So
yeah, maybe homeless shelters or something. Maybe I don't know. There's a lot of women in homeless shelters.
Yeah, so we'll turn the loss into some good the best we can.
There you go, and I think you can write some of that off, maybe. But yeah, it's hard because you put in the cost production, you've shipped overseas, if that's where your vending comes from. You put all this work and you're ready to put it on the shelves and get that return on investment that you took and do, and so you not only lose the profit, you lose the hard cost.
Correct.
Yeah.
So another thing we've done as far as our overall production is we've increased our USA production a lot. In light of that. So our USA manufacturer that we work with only uses vetted prints. And if they are copyrighted, we receive the rights to use, sell, and then resell those.
Wow.
So we moving forward today on, if you're a storefront wanting to sell our Michelle May brand, we can basically guarantee that what we're selling you is safe.
Wow.
Because we either only buy licensed prints, or we actually are working with a luxury brand designer to create our own prints. We're going to copyright ourselves.
Wow. You really have to play that game and copyright your own stuff now, huh?
Yes.
That is crazy, man. But I imagine, in the world of prints, there's all sorts of, I imagine that sometimes there could be some overlap or something.
Well, and it was really overwhelming because you think about simple things like flowers, right? Women's fashion has a lot of floral type things. And you're like, how can you copyright a floral print? But you can. And the reality is that, artistic creativity deserves protection. And I very much respect that part about the industry. And now I'm happy I'm on the other side of it, and I can be a proponent for how to do it the right way.
And a lot of business owners won't survive something like this. Like I've had people that have gotten C&Ds and they've had to shut down their whole company and lose everything. Yeah,
this was a huge financial hit to us between the settlement and all the lost products and hard costs. And the same attorney is actually back again. I think sometimes it's hard when you settle. They might want to come back again. And so we're with our legal counsel right now working on trying to navigate that one. But again, nothing was ever done intentionally. It was just, we were sold something that is alleged to have a copyright. It's not proven to have it, but I don't want to take that risk moving forward. So we're taking control of our company. There you go.
I forget what it's called, but sometimes there's these, I call them shakedown lawsuits because that's what we would get. In fact, there's a interview someone did on the stand, like, why did you sue Chris Voss and his companies? Because he's rich. They literally said that on the stand. And I was like, wow, that's nice.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm not that rich, but, you have a company, but you can have companies that are multi-million-dollar companies, and you're making minimum wage the first couple of years. But by then we were very successful. But thank God they were C corps, so they couldn't get to my private money. And that's kind of a thing too. Do you think about? Did you do any changes to your corporate structure?
Not yet, just because I'm also not trying to hide anything. I am a corporation, and so I do have that separation from my individual assets.
That's good.
But, part of this new shift of our company culture here is we're trying to be advocates for truth and change and a warning for other business owners versus trying to change my structure and try to hide, like make sure they can't get to me. I'd rather run my business in the sense of, if you come and, vet me out, you're going to see that we're doing everything the right way. So you kind of can't. The exposure it's been scary, right? Because it's a whole new process, legal battlefield, I guess you could say. But I connected with a really good attorney, and this is her specialty. And I'm confident that with our changes, we'll minimize our risk moving forward.
There you go. I mean, if you can show a court that you took the right steps, like I was told that in the 90s with sexual harassment complaints. The state told us when we got our first one, the state said you have to fire the person with if they get 2 warnings instead of 3, like you would normally fire people with 3 warnings at a company. And they're like, you have to do it as 2, because if you do it as 3, it looks like you're encouraging it, maybe, or something. There's some sort of implication to that effect. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll do that then. That's fine with me.
And I think for me, like, just who I am and how I was raised, I always want to do stuff right the first time, as best as I can. So the first time this guy came knocking, I made the changes then. And now that he's come back a second time for another alleged copyright issue, we've already made all the changes, right? And this is something we sold way back in 2022. So I would just encourage people, before you produce, make, manufacture, print any product that you want to sell, make sure you have the legal rights to do so.
Definitely. Legal rights are important. Make sure copyright's important. When I went when as a YouTube content promoter, I went to YouTube Studios one time, and they taught us, it was like a whole day of copyright law. It was like crazy to go through and learn about all this stuff about copyright law and parody, of course. And it was just crazy. But you realize why it's important, trademarks and copyrights and all that sort of good stuff. Yeah, anything you do to prevent it. I think there's some of these attorneys that are out there, attorney firms that are out there that are predatory in this sort of field, aren't there? If you want to speak to that.
I can let you know that this particular individual sent out many notices, not just to my company, but to other companies that I know, boutique owners.
Wow.
We're talking small boutique owners that maybe sold 3 or 4 of a particular top, and they're still getting threatened with a lawsuit. So it is a larger overreaching problem. And I think that as technology increases with AI and photo recognition, et cetera, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, because the ability to scan the internet for possible copyright infringements, I think, is going to be increasing here rapidly.
I'm glad I got better things to do during the day. I mean, I guess everyone's got to make a buck somehow, but it's smart that you're doing this, taking the steps that you're taking and advising people on doing it. I imagine it was really hard to make the decision to settle the first claim, right? Instead of fighting it, because a lot of times the attorney's fees can eat you alive and make the claim.
And just because of how I was raised, I've always been a proponent for just truth, what's right, and a very high ethical, moral standard. And so it was hard for me to settle, but I didn't do anything wrong at the moment. Settlement was a way for me to move on with my life. I was very pregnant. I knew the steps I needed to take to make it right. So I thought it was in the past. But with copyright stuff, there's years of time that they can still come back at you. So even if you're okay, they can still come knocking.
Well, they tend to go after people that are very successful too. The one thing I've learned is how to get rid of an attorney who's suing you is you tell them that you have no assets. I
just let my attorneys have all those conversations for me now.
There you go. I've spent enough time in court suing people and collecting money from people who owe us money, and then getting shakedown lawsuits from employees and stuff. and other people. I mean, I've told some of the stories in my book, Beacons of Leadership. I spend enough time doing that to where I don't even have to have attorneys anymore. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's definitely not cheap to do things the right way. You know, I now hired a brand designer, a PR company, I have my attorney. I didn't have any of those things before this situation came. But I can tell you those things are worth the investment, and I'd rather invest in those partnerships for my company than pay an attorney a settlement again.
There you go. I mean, what I look at it is you know, if you can survive these lessons that you have to survive as an entrepreneur, there's always stuff coming at you that's endangering you, your company, threatening to bankrupt it. Sometimes it's a slow bleed, sometimes it's an immediate threat. And you know, there's always these things that you know, you're constantly problem solving. You know, it's like whack-a-mole 24/7 all the time. You're like, problem bang, problem bang, problem bang. You know, you're just like, does this ever stop? No. And in fact, the more successful you get, the bigger the problems get usually.
One of the biggest lessons I had was the whole "I just didn't know any better" is not an excuse and is not going to get you out of trouble. As a business owner, whether you're selling a few tops per month to your local friends or you're a multi-million-dollar boutique selling, you know, to people across the nation and internationally, the reality is you as a business owner have a responsibility to know you have the rights to sell what you're selling. And so now in Michelle May on our wholesale side, we're assuring that we can do that to protect the retailers that partner with us.
There you go. What are some other lessons that you learned from the experience?
Take a deep breath sometimes, spend more energy on a solution versus the problem. When I first got the cease and desist and the lawsuit paperwork, I wasted too much time stressing about the situation versus just shifting gears, finding solutions, and building my business faster.
That's a really good lesson. And probably it sounds like you maybe did some distribution of duties to like attorneys and other places.
Yeah.
So delegate.
Yep, delegate as much as you can to the people you trust and that have the right skill set to accomplish what you need.
There you go. That's important too, because you've got to be able to, you know, you can't get off your ball. You can't go spend all your time trying to deal with the legal part while your business goes to hell, right?
Right. Well, with any crisis, it's like it's a defining moment for any business. Do you fold or do you fight? And how you fight, I think, speaks to character. And for me, fighting wasn't a combative thing. Fighting was just an internal battle with myself to make me better, my brand and my team better.
There you go.
So retailers can have a better product to sell to their clients.
There you go. I like that. I like that. Keeping, you know, instead of getting drawn into the fight, into the battle with somebody else, you know, make the battle internal just to build a better machine, build a better kingdom, build a better brand and all that good stuff.
And you can't control anybody else. You can only control yourself. So why fight somebody you can't control?
That's true. That's true. Although I do love war, but that's one of those things. But that's another matter. So can you share some practical tips for other entrepreneurs on how to avoid legal pitfalls like yours?
Have a great attorney on retainer. Run things by them before you make decisions. That's been the biggest lesson for me is before I produce anything at this point, whether it's a style or a print or a combination of the two, I run it by my attorney just to make sure that there's no issues. And I think that's a good first fail safe to running a safe business.
Have a good attorney. Yeah. Because they keep you out of trouble. Sometimes they can be troublesome because they see everything as a problem. It's kind of like they're basically a hammer. So they see everything as a nail. But
and my other advice would just be to not get discouraged when the problems do come, because they're going to. You're never going to own any kind of business in any industry that's not going to throw stuff at your face you're going to have to deal with. So just get ready for it to come.
That is really good advice, because I think the mindset, how you approach to that, makes all the difference in how you respond, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you have the mindset that problems are going to come, I'm going to solve them. I mean, I think I've joked about how being an entrepreneur is basically a problem-solving game. That's really all it is. It's just problem-solving. You're not selling really widgets or anything. You're just playing a game to problem solve.
No,
it's whack-a-mole.
Exactly. And kind of my passion for why I do this is kind of why I have that mindset. So we're not just creating an apparel brand, but we're creating a product that other entrepreneurs can sell and provide for their families.
Oh.
And I don't take that responsibility lightly. The
Mhm.
fact that other boutique owners can buy from me, resell in the open market, and provide for themselves, their team, their staff, their families,
Mhm.
that has meaning to me in a lot of ways.
There you go. So, anything more you want to talk about on these challenges you faced and everything else? I want to get into a little bit about your companies and sort of the offering you have there to entrepreneurs on the wholesale side, retail side, et cetera, et cetera.
No, I would just don't be afraid to go with your gut. If something
Mhm.
feels off, lean into that, and don't be afraid to change.
There you go. I like one of these sound bites they sent over. I think they said every setback is a setup for comeback.
Absolutely.
There you go. I like that. I'm going to put that on a coffee cup.
Yeah, so
Um,
we have a saying here with our team yet that we've been through a lot of challenges. Our local community had a fire. We got kicked out of our warehouse. We built a
Wow.
new warehouse. So kind of our mindset moving forward is this is gonna be our best year yet. We've learned a lot of the hard lessons. We know what not to do. Are we going to mess up again? Yes, absolutely, because that's what entrepreneurs do. They find some way to mess it up. But we're going with a positive mindset that we're going to make this the best year we can.
Yeah, there's always going to be new challenges. I mean, the bigger you get, the more successful you get, the higher the wire goes, the high wire that you have to walk on as an entrepreneur, and the further way down it goes, you're just like, it's a long way down from where we're at right now.
The higher you rise, the higher you have to fall.
That is correct. And boy, looking down from those planes can be wild. So let's talk about your brands again. Now, let's start with the one that's the wholesale one. And what opportunities do people out there, if they might be listening, that might want to get involved with you? What do they have?
Sure. So Michelle May is a wholesale retail brand, meaning consumers cannot buy it directly. They have to buy it from one of our retail partners, which would be other boutiques. And so if somebody out there is an entrepreneur that owns a boutique that would like to carry our brand, they can just email us at accounts@michellemayWholesale.com.
Mm-hmm.
We do have an application process because we want to make sure we're pairing with the right retail partners.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, part of this is trying to raise more awareness of our brand and our size inclusivity and
there you go.
More available.
And I believe it's all USA made. Is that correct?
It's not all USA made. We have
Okay.
3 different manufacturers. Our USA-based line, we are more than doubling this year for a variety of reasons. One being the print issue that they already sell us copyrighted or licensed prints.
Mm-hmm.
So we have we have USA made, we have some made over in China, and we have some assembled in other countries like Mexico as well.
There you go. And then let's get into Ella Lane.
Sure. So Ella Lane is essentially our own retail partner for ourselves. It's just it's an online boutique where any consumer can go. It's just ellalane.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so the majority of what we sell in there is Michelle May, just because we believe in the brand that we create ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the consumer can find the brand.
There you go. So there's an entrepreneurial opportunity for people if you're out there trying to start your own brand. How do people that start their own brand with your other company, how do they usually retail that? If I'm a young lady out in the world there thinking about maybe starting up with you guys doing some of this wholesaling, retailing, what do they normally do? Do they usually do an online thing or do they do a local shop?
We have a variety. So we're in a couple thousand stores nationally. We have a mix of online only retailers, brick and mortar stores, meaning you can walk into their physical location and shop and try on. We have some that do both online and brick and mortar. And then mobile boutiques is definitely something that's starting to kind of pop up more,
Really?
unintended. So they'll have like a trailer. I actually used to own a trolley that I used to do shows with my local community. So essentially, if you're a vetted boutique owner that sells women's apparel and you kind of jive with the vibe of what we have to sell, there's an opportunity to add our brand to your lineup.
There you go. Maybe we'll sell clothes on the Chris Voss Show. Should we add that to our wholesale lineup, folks?
I would need to be the men's line first.
You know what? There's this one gal that I'm friends with I'm not like close friends with her, but she's on Instagram, and she was a single mother who built a clothing line brand. and she just basically started modeling the clothes she was buying on, and she would make like outfits, like hand and or hat and shoes, and she'd make like the outfit really cute that people liked, and so then she modeled it in her home, and she built like this huge brand selling clothes. And I was like, well, that's brilliant. I've tried that, but no one wants to buy a Kmart shirt, black and a.
I started in my living room 7 years ago.
There you go.
And it's just kind of gradually grown. And
Yeah.
now my husband and I just finished building our first warehouse that we own ourselves. So that's
There
been
you
kind of
go.
fun
That
to be
is
a part of the process.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love seeing entrepreneurs succeed. It's such a tough business, and I know how tough it is when this legal shit goes down, man. It's something else. But it's kind of like what we always say about the internet. Once you have the trolls coming after you, and you got people slinging stuff at you, probably means you made it. So there's something comforting in that. I don't know what.
It's just all part of doing business.
No one cares about you if you're unsuccessful, basically, is what I mean. So there you go. Well, thank you very much, Ashley, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms as we go out.
Yep. So ellalane.com if you're a consumer wanting to buy the products for yourselves, and then michellemayWholesale.com if you're an entrepreneur wanting to sell our brand in your store.
There you go. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTokity. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Chris Voss, or you can just buy a retail shirt off of her website and send it to me. But it's going to be female clothes. But maybe I should do that because I could model the clothes on the show, and then and if you want to buy this great outfit that I'm wearing today. There you go. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. That should have